If you see my dog walking around in the background, I apologize. I tried to leave him inside, and then he kept coming up to the door, and then now I feel like he's pacing. He's right there. I feel like he's pacing back there because he knows he's on camera. Hey guys, so I have a slightly different kind of video for you today. You could probably already tell from the title of the video, but I wanted to walk you through something that's been going on with me recently, just because I know that getting an abnormal pap smear result in and of itself is not a very uncommon thing. I know a number of women who have had the occasional abnormal result that has turned out to be absolutely nothing, and it's completely fine. But I myself had never had an abnormal pap smear result, and my family does have a history of cervical cancer, so getting an abnormal pap smear is actually a little bit more scary for the ladies in my family. And a few weeks ago, I had my very first abnormal pap smear result. So I just kind of wanted to walk through what happened and how I was feeling, because I don't think that women talk about these things in a lot of detail. So if this can just help anyone else to feel like they're not overreacting, or like they're not crazy for being a little nervous or scared by something like this, you know, if this video can help with that, then, you know, this video has served its purpose. So I wanted to, you know, talk to you guys about what happened to me. So when I got my pap smear done, it was just my normal annual checkup, and I was told that within 2 weeks I would get an email to tell me that everything was good, or I would get a phone call if something was unusual. And I have never had an abnormal pap smear result, so I expected to just get a boring email telling me that I was all good. And then I got a phone call probably about 5 days ago from a number that I did not recognize, and it was from my doctor, letting me know that I did in fact have an abnormal pap smear result. I was diagnosed with, and I'm going to look down because it's difficult to recall off the top of my head, I was diagnosed with a squamous intraepithelial lesion on my cervical pap smear. So that's a really long series of words, but just to kind of break it down in layman's terms, there was something abnormal going on down there that shouldn't have been happening, and they needed to come back, look at me a little bit more closely, and likely take more tissue samples. So today I went in for a colposcopy, which is a done just in my normal doctor's office. It wasn't like a surgery or anything. It was like an outpatient, very minor procedure where a camera with this little tiny, like high def, really microscopic level camera looks very closely at the area of my cervix and surrounding my cervix. And it was hooked up to a television, so I was actually able to see what they were doing. And they put vinegar, like a vinegar wash, into my vaginal canal. And the vinegar, while, you know, I didn't really feel anything. They said for some women it burns a little bit. The purpose of the vinegar wash is to essentially highlight the abnormal cells. So I guess that when the vinegar wash comes into contact with the abnormal tissue down there, it turns that tissue a kind of white color when they apply this weird light to it. So they put this kind of bluey, purpley light thing, and I was able to very clearly see the area where this lesion of whatever sort was very close to my cervix. And it was rather prominent, which is a little unsettling to say the least. I could see just, it was weird because the majority of the skin or the flesh or whatever you want to call the vaginal canal, the walls of it were relatively smooth until you got to this section that was kind of bright white, and it was like, I don't know, the texture was off. So seeing that was very eye-opening and unsettling, and it made me really nervous. And the doctor took numerous samples, biopsies of different areas of that section, and I was told it would take 10 days to get the results. So the colposcopy in and of itself, it wasn't a pleasant experience by any means, but it wasn't necessarily painful. I had pretty bad cramping for a couple hours afterward. And I was really tired, I think just from the mental stress of, you know, seeing something like that on a television screen and knowing that that was my body. So I don't know, it was exhausting. It was nerve-wracking, it was exhausting. I did not want to be there, and the fact that I have to wait until December 23rd, which, you know, one is right before Christmas, and that's a horrible time to have to go to the doctor, to potentially get bad news. And then three, that's, you know, that's a week and a half, almost 2 weeks away, and it's during the holidays. I'm just going to kind of have this little dark cloud over my head while I wait to see if I have a serious illness or not. So that's, it's aggravating because there's nothing I can do. So that's what's frustrating. I'm a control freak, and this is something that I have no control over. So I think that's what's most frustrating. But anyways, I'll definitely let you guys know what happens, but, because of the timing of this procedure, it is relatively traumatic to the skin down there. I've already had my period for December, but my next cycle is actually coming up relatively soon. It'll probably be a December to January kind of crossover thing. And because of the timing of the biopsies and the number of biopsies that my doctor took, he did recommend that I not use menstrual cups. So for my December, what I wore this month, you will see some menstrual cups in there, but for my January one, it will be menstrual cup free, because there's just, you know, like I'm bleeding right now from the, you know, from the aftermath of the biopsies. Not heavy by any means, but yeah, anyways, I wanted to just share that experience. I don't feel like I never heard the term colposcopy before. I never knew what happened after you got an abnormal pap smear, but my doctor seems relatively hopeful, which is making me hopeful. And while the control freak in me is essentially being driven to distraction by the fact that I don't know what's happening, I just figured that this would be something that, since, you know, we talk about periods all the time, that, you know, I would just share with you something about my personal health in that region of my body. So I am not a doctor. I'm not a medical expert. This was just sharing my experiences. So if you want to talk about my experiences, definitely leave any questions below. Obviously, I can't give any medical advice or anything like that, but I definitely am available if you guys have any questions about what it feels like, or you know, maybe you're going through the same thing and we can commiserate together. And in any case, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you later. Bye.